Hello, this is Algebra 1, topic 8-4, just more on solving quadratic functions using the calculator. So, just as a refresher, we see an equation. We want to go ahead and put that into y equals on our calculator. So it is y equals x squared minus x minus 6. And we're going to go ahead and find a lot of information first before we start trying to graph it. So our x-intercepts, remember we go to y2, we set this equal to 0, and then we go to graph. We look at our graph, we can see that it crosses in a couple places. We want to do second calculate, which is trace. And we want to find the intersection. First curve, second curve, and for our guess, we come close to the curve we want, hit enter, and it tells us -2, 0. Then we do it all again, second trace, intersect, first curve, second curve, scroll to the right, get close to that intersection, hit enter, and it tells us 3, 0. So our solutions would be -2 and 3. Our factors would be x plus 2 and x minus 3. You just take these and change the sign, put them inside the parentheses with x, plus or minus. Now our vertex, we're going to need to do a minimum here. So we go back to second trace. Number 3 is minimum. Our left bound, we make sure we're left of our vertex. We hit enter. For our right bound, we make sure that we are right of our vertex. We hit enter. We don't care to guess, so we just hit enter one more time. And it tells us -0.5, because we round that up, and -6.25. So our axis of symmetry would be at x equals, we grab this number right here, -0.5. Here we have a table. We go to second table to figure this out. At -3, we're at 6. At -2, we are at 0. And now, we graph. Well, we have a few points. We have -2, 0. We have 3, 0. We have -3, 6. And we have -2, 0. Alright, that's just grabbing these 4 points where this one happened to duplicate. We also need our vertex. So at -0.5, -6.25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just a little bit more. Our axis of symmetry. Something is not quite looking right here. It's not -0.5. This was a positive 0.5. Yes, right here. Alright. And so it's not x equals -0.5, it's x equals positive 0.5. Go back to my graph and let's go ahead and just confirm this. Minimum, left bound, right bound, guess. 0.5, -6.25. I'm not sure why I wrote down negative earlier. Apparently it didn't show it. I'm going to go ahead and mirror this point over here across my line of reflection. Go ahead and draw my graph. And there we go. Let's go ahead and look at example number 2. Again, we're going to start off by putting this into the calculator. Go to y equals, clear out this, type in our new one, which is x squared plus 5x minus 24. Graph it. We see that our graph is not big enough, so I'm going to go ahead and change this. I'm going to go to my window. I need to change my y minimum. Let's just go -20. Still not getting that y minimum. Let's try -30. Maybe I'm getting it. I'm just not quite seeing it. I know I'm close, though, so I'm going to say -35. And yes, I'm definitely seeing my minimum now. So now that I've done this, we can go ahead and find our different answers. Start with our x-intercepts. Second, calculate. Intersect. First curve, second curve. And for our guess, we're going to come over here close to the left one first. Hit enter. It tells us -8, 0. Do the whole thing again. Second, trace. Intersect. First, second, scroll over for guess. We just need to be close. Hit enter, and it tells us 3, 0. So my solutions are -8 and 3, which means it's x plus 8 and x minus 3. My vertex, again, this is another minimum because it's opening down. So second, calculate the minimum. We need a left bound. Make sure I'm left of the vertex. We need a right bound. Make sure that I am right of the vertex. We don't care to guess, we just hit enter, and it tells us -2.5. -30.5. Our axis of symmetry would be at x equals -2.5. Again, we just pull this one right here. Do not want those parentheses. Have 2 points. We go to our table, second table. For -8, we're at 0. And at -2, we're at -30. So this is going to be kind of hard to graph because we simply don't have the information. But I'll go ahead and graph the points I have. -8, 0. +3, 0. My axis is at -2.5. And I know at -2 I'm at 30, and at -2.5 I'm at -30.5. So I'm just going to roughly draw them down here because I don't really have a spot. And then we just simply connect. And we get a really rough graph. The biggest thing is that I need to see that you've plotted every point that you can plot, including your vertex, and that those points are drawn accurately. Well, that's all there is to this topic. Nothing new, just review, and the calculator does everything for you. Good luck and have a nice day.